We have seen it a couple of times in a row now already for Na'Vi. Their drafting is solid, strong, very little room, for poking at very few holes in their drafts. And holes in the draft were kind of the story there for Techies and the previous series that we saw for Techies as well. We're going to find out if maybe they have what it takes to force out the third game of this series. We're joined by Purge on the big board. I have Kyle and ODPixel with me still as well. And of course, you're watching ESL 1 powered by Intel. And we are in the draft for the second game. We are actually well into the draft for the second game. And it's the Witch Doctor. Which region was Witch Doctor super popular? Southeast Asia?
83% win rate in Southeast Asia.
With most picked hero as well.
Most picked hero as well.
Impressive.
So, you know, it's all right. They know what's going on in SCA. Do Techies know what's going on here in CIS with it? We'll find out.
They banned the Beastmaster. I'm glad to see that. But
I mean, this has got to... I think you're happier this time around if you know Techies, because they have shown this Storm very early. You know, this is some confidence from Na'Vi. Obviously, they do have Iceberg, one of the best Storm players in the game. So they're just throwing it out there early in the draft. Second pick.
That's cool. He can punish these supports potentially if he gets on top of them first, but there are some worries pre-6 if Earth Spirit roams on you, so if they can protect against that, it'll be okay. Witch Doctor obviously can deal with Chen creeps pretty well, so in the laning stage, that won't be as big of an issue if they want to lane that there, so they could lane swap, put Witch Doctor offlane maybe, but it's also just a safe 5, so.
Support duos picked first, though.
Yeah, never the biggest fan of that. But the Earth Spirit, I really feel it's more of a core. I'm curious to what Fog thinks on that, because he's more of an expert than I am, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it played more offlane and mid.
You don't want to ask Purge that because you don't respect his opinion? What?
Well, Fog
I actually don't play the hero that much, so
yeah,
that's fine.
It's not an insult. I mean, Purge is...
I still value his opinion. Purge, do you think this Earth Spirit will be a core or a support?
Kyle, I don't blame you on this. Sheeper set you up to have to flame me. It's okay, man. I understand.
Well, no, you were a pro player back in 2011.
Yeah, I had the highest pro win rate for like 2 months there.
True.
Above everybody in the world. I should have just stopped right there and just bragged about it for years. And then we lost a bunch, so that went away. But no, I think Earth Spirit as an offlane hero, no, I don't like that. I think it has too many issues, especially because like you're like so mobile. It's like having to stay on the creeps makes it obvious what you're doing. But mid Earth Spirit definitely can work for tempo setting and that kind of thing. But I don't think I'd want to lane it against Storm. So
no, definitely not.
I think it's obviously supports.
Yeah, but to Sheev's point, I'm just never a fan of opening with the 2 supports.
Yeah.
And I think it's you know what it is that I see the best teams and they just don't do that. Right, they pick an open hero. OG specifically always has a hero that could be support, could be core, whatever, in their first 2. I just think that's a better way to draft conceptually. It's like the easy part of drafting. It's like chess. There's certain openings that the first 5, 6 moves, sometimes even 10, 15, are theory. They don't deviate from that because it's objectively the best. And I think that you can make the same argument about picking an open hero in your first 2.
It does leave their ambiguity about how their lanes are planning to play, though. Like, I feel like it reveals less about their strat as a whole to have Witch Doctor or Spit. I mean, obviously teams think that that's overcome in some way, but maybe still likes this old school mentality in terms of drafting or something like that.
Yeah, they might have also felt trapped with the OD in the previous game and looked for a way to shape things up. We got a Rubik Chen combination of supports coming out from Na'Vi. We've seen Techies ban out the Phoenix IO, and we talk about this Chen a bit for Na'Vi because we have seen it be successful the previous series that they played as well. At what point are you gonna prioritize banning that instead of the IO or the Phoenix? At IO, I think then maybe.
You gotta ban Phoenix against this squad though. Yeah. That's the always. I mean, think of it as always wanna fly. And you want to give him a Phoenix?
Sure.
IO flies too, technically. Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's a really good point.
Hovers.
Batrider band.
Hovers.
You think hover over float?
We don't. Birds don't float. What do you mean?
IO.
Oh, IO.
He's floating in the ether.
No, he just exists. He exists at the exact level and place he wants. He's not, you know, it's deeper than just flying.
On that. I don't know if I agree with what Owen's saying.
IO just exists where he wants to, you know, it's just, it's much deeper. He doesn't fly.
No, he doesn't fly. I agree with that.
He's an all-powerful
Surrounded by
thing.
an anti-gravitational field.
But does he float or hover?
I mean, he exists. I told you. That's all he does. He's just there. He doesn't do anything. It's very complex.
Okay.
That's why he has no turn rate. He can look whichever direction.
Yeah, we got
How do we know
a
it's
Void
he,
Spirit
actually?
coming out.
Are you sure it's just an it? It just exists. It's a thing. It exists.
So my question, who's going mid? Is it Storm or Void?
Oh, I like this.
That's a harder question now.
Here we go.
That's a good AM pick, actually. Yeah.
I would say Storm for sure. I'd be surprised because it's Iceberg, right? I feel like Iceberg is just going to want to play the Storm. But dude, AM, nobody's playing this hero, probably for good reason. But I mean, it's against the Storm, right? You're looking for that nuclear bomb with the mana void. It could be there. Good luck against sort of the pressure that's going to be put onto your lane, though. That might be kind of rough for AM in the early game. But if he gets there, there's one hero that's going to go boom.
They do already have some set up with the Void Spirit
Sorry.
for the Anti-Mage. All right, sorry, Verge, go for it.
It's okay. That's what I was gonna say. Like the off lane is maybe Void Spirit here, Void Spirit Rubik. I'm not that worried against as an anti-mage here. Like he's against 4 int heroes at the moment. Like there's so many. Like he wants to use Mana Void like 3 times per team fight. I'm sure.
I think you want to switch it up though because of that. Because a Void Spirit safe lane now looks real appealing with an Orchid Rush. And suddenly, you've got this timing where you're way stronger than this anti-mage, and then you can pick a bully to go off lane, such as Slardar, LC, something that both likes laning and can actively deal with the AM later in the game. I think you might want to ban TA, even though Na'Vi have already revealed 2 mid heroes, just because Iceberg's so strong with it, and it's such a hard counter to both AM and Puck throughout the game.
Are we in the same situation as previous game where we want no Techies to go for a fat frontliner? We have Na'Vi banning out the fat frontliners at the moment. Like Mars, Tide.
It's not a bad point, but between Earth Spirit and Puck, they have pretty decent initiation. So, like, I sort of agree, but they'll get something that'll round it out. But even without something that's super tanky, it feels all right. I'm more worried about like the gank potential of Na'Vi between like Storm and Void. But I feel like if Puck gets a Yule Scepter and Anti-Mage gets his Manta at a good time, then they should be semi-okay.
Ooh.
What are you thinking?
Meepo.
For who?
Na'Vi.
No, I was thinking it was a good Meepo game, but I don't think they play it. Like Iceberg doesn't play Meepo. It is a good Meepo game.
Does V-Tune do?
I mean,
you think if he can play it, I mean, yeah, I agree. It's a good Meepo game.
Yeah.
But I don't think he plays it, so probably not gonna happen.
I like that we're on the same page, though, Owen. Oh my God, it's such a good Meepo game.
It does look pretty good. I like the Bloodseeker pick though. Otherwise. Yeah,
because I'm looking at Na'Vi. They need something that straight up just like ends the game. I could see a Huskar, right?
No, dude, Huskar is terrible.
Yeah,
Huskar is not playable.
Okay.
It's a troll.
Yep. So they got their nets in the end.
I'm just concerned about this off lane. To your point, I think it was Owen. Like Void Spirit Rubik just isn't super threatening to an anti-mage. He's gonna have a really nice time. The troll 1-to-1 will be better than the anti-mage, but it's just a more complicated game for Na'Vi. I think they're the better team, so they'll still probably take it.
Yeah.
But I like No Techies that they've given themselves an actual win condition if the game goes long.
Final thoughts on the draft, Purge?
I really like what No Techies did with their draft. Even though the 2 supports were kind of iffy, it gave them this good opportunity to pick a carry that matches up well. But I think Troll will do really good against enemy lineups, so probably still Na'Vi winning.
All right, thank you very much. We'll come back to you after the game. Owen, what do you reckon?
I think there's going to be a lot of people out there who are just like anti-mage, lol. You know, it's sort of the same extent when No Techies pick the Sven. They're like, what are they doing? What are they picking this carry for?
Yeah.
I think AM's underrated. So I'm going to say that this AM will win them the game. Probably won't. But I'm sort of hoping for some sort of upset from No Techies. And if they're going to do it, I think they could do it on the back of a crystallized anti-mage. So I'm going to say No Techies is going to pull this one off.
Owen is the carry expert on this panel, so I would I understand his reasoning, but I still just feel like oftentimes nowadays the better team's going to win, and Na'Vi's a better team.
All right, well, let's find out. Can Crystallized Anti-Mage carry No Techies to a 3rd game to the series? We're going to find out together with Capitalist and Fogged.
That's right. We've got an Anti-Mage versus Storm Spirit game, and since that is always kind of a one-sided affair, they needed a matchup that was going to feel a lot better against AM. They went for the troll. It felt like kind of like the last, just go-to carry you pick up when you see an AM.
Yeah, definitely. It is a bit of a troublesome versus a lot of these silences and lots of different ways to disable, and in particular Bloodseeker, get ruptured if you're battle tranced, can't control your hero, you run with it, not really the most fun. But yeah, it definitely felt like the best last pick for them to give them not only ways to scale, but also ways to actually pressure and take objectives. Because I think they had the Chen, but they needed someone else that it gets enabled by it. And yeah, Troll, he can actually take those buildings and take Roche. And he's got the net, right? Versus the AM later on. He's going to be able to build naturally into a BKB versus this heavy magic damage lineup at some point too. So yeah,
maybe a better way I should have described it is they kind of ignored what the rest of the lineup was, right? And it was just like, okay, we just need something that's going to beat AM 1-to-1. So even if it's not like an overall great troll game, they wanted the carry-on-carry matchup, right?
Yeah, it definitely looks like that there. Can definitely be tripped up a little bit, but I think with like the backup of heals and stuff like that, the Chen, it makes it so that these silences, you can actually deal with them and get your battle trance off almost always as V-Tune, as we see starting an aggro positioning for no Techies. And I'm really curious to see how this top lane does. I'm definitely in accordance with what the panel was talking about, how this looks like it could just be a free lane for Anti-Mage. I mean, Solo is one of those players that he might just skill Voodoo Restoration, and then they just play for the farm, and that would probably be phenomenal for Crystallize.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea whatsoever. I don't know if you've been playing much games in NA, but it feels like, I know Southeast Asia is picking up a lot, but NA especially has been grabbing a lot of Witch Doctor as well. And sometimes, yeah, you just pick up Voodoo Restoration level 1 or 2 and just chill out in the lane. They can't really pressure you when you have that ability.
Yeah, and it's like he skills it immediately. So we already see what he's going to do in the top lane. He's just going to play a sustain and harass game, and this should be a pretty free lane for no Techies for the most part up here.
I actually saw this matchup yesterday in one of my pubs. It wasn't side lane AM versus Void Spirit. It was mid AM versus Void Spirit. It wasn't a fair matchup, though, because it was Thompson playing the Anti-Mage, and it was my poor rank 300 Void Spirit getting thrashed. But I do know that the matchup doesn't feel great for Void Spirit unless you're able to really put damage on the AM, in which case Voodoo Restoration is going to be able to fix that.
Yeah, they're just always going to be able to win that trade war up top, and I mean, it should just be a free lane for Crystallize, and that's pretty much what they're playing for this game, because like you said, they're playing versus these quad int heroes, playing versus Storm, so this is very ideal for him. Look at bottom with the Xayah pulling creep waves. Got some funny business going on with Roger.
Yeah, with the extra Chen creep sitting there as well. Malik doesn't quite manage to get the blood right there. Meanwhile, Roger will continue to contest Xayahs for all of these last hits. It's always a little awkward pulling like this when you're on Dire's side, since you do have to pull it all the way back between the tier 2 and tier 3. But,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Oh, Courier. Oh, geez. Bloodseeker Courier almost just walked right through Roger. That was a little close. The big discrepancy right now is mid. Iceberg is destroying Urgon right now. He keeps pushing him off the wave, and oh my god, he might actually get the kill. Okay, never mind. It's still though like 9 last hits over him, and he's putting the pressure on Urgon. Not able to get last hits even under the tower here. 4-13.
Yeah, this is just terrible. He's gonna need a power rune. Like, this is becoming one of those situations where you are losing the lane so early on that you're gonna need a little bit of luck to help you out. They do manage to get the first blood at top lane. As Crystallize is gonna now turn and chase down Always Wanna Fly as well. All of this without even an Orb of Venom. Crystallize didn't even need that. Was just able to play so far forward, and his Void Spirit just kind of melted.
I was literally about to point that out too. I was literally about to be like, maybe you should just bring an Orb of Venom out here, because this looks like it's going to be a constant kill lane for him if he does have it. But yeah, without it, they're able to get the 1 kill. Push Always Want to Fly completely out too. And he doesn't have the freest farm though somehow. He's actually only at 10 last hits. I thought he'd be just completely free farming, but he's getting pressured a bit.
Yeah, it probably feels like one of those situations where you're focusing so much on harassing the enemy, you just end up missing CS as a result. As he's going to blink back here. They did manage to get a hard camp pull, so that denied a full wave. That's going to feel real good for no Techies. But mid does not feel so good as the domination of Iceberg continues. 20-5 compared to 10-2. Iceberg was a true game winner in game 1. And it feels like that's sort of been the story of Iceberg, is that he is such a good mid laner that he will just straight up win games for you single-handedly because of how well he dominates that mid lane matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I've honestly been seeing Iceberg win almost every single one of his lanes. He gets the glyph aggressive onto Urgon here, too, to keep the creep wave alive under the tower, gets himself more denies. And yeah, the problem with Iceberg really was for some time where he, in the later stages, he made these mistakes. He's been cleaning up his act a lot. As we see 4-minute bounty runes being checked bottom, it will spawn as action is happening top. And Urgon will at least get this DD for himself, denied away from Iceberg.
A DD, but no bottle to refill. That's how far behind he is. He hasn't been able to buy that yet. So instead has just been funneling himself some regen.
Yeah, and they can't even like set up a gank onto Iceberg in the mid lane too, because they put that preemptive ward way earlier on in the beginning of the game to watch if the Earth Spirit, if Zayats does look to make rotations. The only way they can kill Iceberg now is if the puck gets 6 and they TP gank. But Iceberg is going to have a significant level advantage at this point that he might actually just pick up like a raindrop or some extra survivability in case that does kick out.
So, Fox, what do you think about the fact that no Techies, I'm seeing a lot of similarities here. Again, a situation where they don't pick a traditional frontlining offlaner, and another situation where Zayats is giving his offlaner a lot of solo experience to try and get him to faster level 6. The biggest difference here is that they have Initiator, it's just from their mid lane with Puck. Do you feel better about no Techies lineup because of that?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think also Bloodseeker, he's this weird frontliner, right? Because he's not like strength or anything, but he's got such significant armor, and usually like he builds up into a couple of times like either Yules or Greaves like that. So he's got options he can go for. But yeah, they have a lot of different other forms of initiation where I feel like it could work because of that.
Zayats tries to roll in, misses. Just ever so barely onto VTune. VTune's been farming pretty well, 32-6. Malik is doing all right for himself as an offlaner, 19-1. So feels like, yeah, they're winning the top lane. Mid's getting demolished, though, on the side of mid Techies. And off lane, it's going all right, but it's definitely Na'Vi winning out on this laning phase overall.
Yeah, and the big concern really is for me is when Na'Vi looks to start really ramping up the pace a little bit. Anti-Mage, he can show up and do like a finishing touch on the Storm Spirit or maybe even on a Void Spirit with the Mana Void, but contributing to the fights it's going to be pretty much non-existent. So Na'Vi feels like they have a pretty good window around this, like, I mean, even pretty soon, like within the next 5 minutes or so, that they can really ramp up the pressure. And it's going to be up to Urgon and kind of like Malik to really bail out that mid game here with their movements.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Level 6
nice
on the puck for Urgon, so we'll see if he's able to make a good rotation here sometime soon.
Iceberg with the Dream Rune, just moving from camp to camp, finds himself, his quad or triple camp that he's got stacked up over here, and full mana to be able to do it. So that's huge for Iceberg.
Yeah, this is twice now. Giving Roger the Chen. He contests the lane for the first like 3-4 minutes, and then he's just a stacking machine from there on out, and it's allowing Na'Vi to go from slightly winning a laning phase where they're up by like maybe less than 1,000, maybe up to 1,200, to all of a sudden being up 2-3K because one of their cores is able to go back and clear through stacks. Top lane, Crystallize is battling it out with Always Want to Fly. He's getting a little bit low. The Restoration is going to keep him up, but General with that 6 is going to pursue. Crystallize is going to pop an extra bit of regen that he had with a Fairy Fire. Solo still trying to limp away through all of this. General really wanted that kill because he has an early earn.
Iceberg,
like to get those
he
charged.
steps up. They're ready for him.
Oh, nice. That's a big kill right there.
Ward that Zayats had placed earlier in the jungle, just scouting him out the whole time. Puck, Urgon actually got in a good position for him to capitalize on being there. That was really nicely done. That's a huge kill too. They have to slow down this Storm Spirit, because if they didn't, we've already seen, Kyle mentioned on the panel too, is these rushed Orchids could definitely be a bit of a problem for no Techies if they come out too early. The Puck and the Anti-Mage pretty vulnerable to that.
Yeah, they got to slow him down and give the Anti-Mage enough time to be able to farm up that Manta. I have to say, I don't love Bloodseeker offlane as much as I used to. I'm watching it, it's just like he throws down this Blood Right and he no longer gets the guaranteed kill on the range creep like he used to.
Yeah.
It feels like watching him, he's missing like every single range creep as a result. It's always being denied by V2.
Yeah, I mean, and the mana change, right, too? That's where it didn't get hurt that much. right? Rupture got reduced, but Blood Right got increased and reduced damage. I mean, it's definitely we're definitely seeing an effect of it because I'm seeing a lot of teams going away from it as V2. There's the Rupture.
It's a little surprising seeing this Rupture before the TP rotation is even started, but it's going to be here now. Urgon has finally arrived. So V-Tune's going to be able to get off the ultimate. He's going to be forced to chase for a long time, quickly surrounded, and very, very dead. Meanwhile, the rotation comes out from Iceberg in the top lane, does kill Solo, but what they really wanted was to potentially kill Crystallize here. Navi's going to set up to defend this safe lane tower.
I mean, no Techies doesn't have natural push, so they're probably feeling that they can set up to just fight around here with General, and they'll find CIS right away.
Yeah, he tries to roll out, but General actually puts himself in a position to block that, but now he's caught by the coil, completely out of mana here. Crystallize is going to let that Mana Void rip, and they're going to have to leave General to die here. So, very likely giving up on this tower now. I'm not sure if that was like a split of decision-making there, if they thought maybe Iceberg was going to be able to come bottom and help out, but ultimately they're just going to trade safe lane towers.
I thought he was actually gonna. They both had mana, him as well as Always Wanna Fly. It must have just been a call to just sack the safe lane. It's not like it's that valuable at this point right now anyway, as your jungle's starting to get taken over by these wards. So I think they're gonna be looking to play top side. So I think they're just like weighing the benefit of the move there.
Yeah.
Just some kills, maybe not worth it for Iceberg, as you can get much more up top.
Yeah, I think that's one of those situations where maybe you as a team have an idea, or like your 5 position, your 3, they have a separate idea. Iceberg, who's been getting so much farm, it's important to protect that farm, right? Like,
yes.
You don't want to take a hasty team fight at bottom lane and throw away this gigantic lead that he has. He's at 5,000 net worth right now, while the Puck, for example, barely hitting 4K.
Yeah, when you're a hero that can have so much impact, like in this mid game, you don't want to sack your game when, you know, your other lanes, they're still doing just fine. Like, sure, your troll maybe was feeling a little bit behind and all that, but he's actually ahead of the AM. So Iceberg, it's about his game. It's all about his Orchid timing for them to just continue that pressure. He's going to have it probably within the next minute and a half or so, as I see Roger setting up even more stacks at the moment.
Royal Jelly. That one's always a feel-good. Smoke breaks there onto Always Wanna Fly. They're going to try and roll at him, but Always Wanna Fly can roll just as well.
Wait, did I see that right? I think Zayats tried to silence him, and he rolled through Zayats' boulder and got the movement speed extra, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's happened, because he definitely hit a stone somewhere, and I didn't see a stone pre-laid out. That's pretty funny.
I thought I was on crack or something, and they added now, like, Rubik just gets a boulder now or something. I was like, wait, what the hell? Okay, so
yeah, I was looking like maybe it's because his passive somehow, like, okay. Urgon solo. They can't really do a whole lot with that coil. In fact, Urgon is going to have to abandon Solo here to die. Now, they are going to roll in with Zayats. He doesn't quite land the boulder. Doesn't hit that extra bit of damage they need onto General. There's a Blood Right to kind of cover his tracks, but Zayats is in trouble and needs to get to the low ground here, but his roll isn't up for another 3 seconds. He's caught in the corner. Urgon and Malik, they're going to come back in here, seeing that Iceberg is completely out of mana here. The opposing Blood Right, but damn, that's a Mana Void that somehow just clipped Always Wanna Fly, and he fell over real quick.
And immediately finishes the Battle Fury right afterwards, naturally into Ancients too. Perfect contribution from Crystallize. Storm, we do see the Orchid was finished up right as he was dying. I think he did get the purchase off, so didn't lose much gold, but a big kill for AM.
Yeah, monstrous. We're going to see that, see the boulder drop here. Yeah, you called it, Giannis. That was perfect. He dropped it right in front of that the Rubik, I think, to try and pull it back, and instead it got gobbled up. I
honestly was so confused for a sec. That was the only solution only thing I could think of. Is, I mean, it's still 3K gold lead for Na'Vi, and they're still in a really good spot. Now they have the Mech, the Hand of God, the Orchid. So now, again, they've hit this big timing window. Let's see if No Techies is prepared for it. They have to have all their ults at the ready. Magnetize still about 30 seconds. Urgon's positioning in particular is going to be everything for setting up for this one here and guarding his teammates. So they're going to pressure mid. Looks like they're even bringing V-Tune over.
Yeah, here comes the Chen push. This is one of those timings on the chain you feel so strong because you've got your ultimate, which is like percentage-wise a huge amount of people's general HP pools right now. You've got these Chen creeps that you still don't have the nukes to be able to completely deal with. They immediately get the silence onto the puck, but at the same time, Iceberg was silenced in return by the Earth Spirit. It just didn't last that long. Always Want to Fly is going to be caught behind the Tier 1 tower, but the Hand of God actually goes off, and maybe he can still survive through that Maledict, which Solo is not going to be surviving through that assault as General and V-Tune wrap around. You said no Techies needed to be well set up to be ready to defend this mid tower, and it looks like they just weren't, honestly.
Yeah, it's really all on Ergon. He has to be in a much better position there to not get silenced. Maybe he just didn't know that the Orchid was finished up at that moment, but I think they saw him for a slight second as committing in Zayat.
Zayat's rolled away right as the Orchid was hitting him. It doesn't matter. He's going to die either way as Iceberg still had plenty of mana to be able to chase down. And they do manage to steal Blood Rage for the Rubik, so that is going to be a potential big upgrade in damage if he throws it onto the Void Spirit or Storm.
Oh, and Iceberg now gets himself an Arcane rune too. He's getting some very, very nice runes. I think he wants to finish his level 12 before he jumps into any more action, because it does give you a big spike in power. And they've already got what they came for, right? Mid tower's taken out. Now they can back up reset because Hand of God was used, and they're going to get a bit more of the map. But I still do want to see them look to play aggressive, right? They're playing versus AM. They've got this big window here where they're just playing 4v5 throughout pretty much this next 10, or actually next like 5-6 minutes or so, until we expect Crystallize to have a man soon.
Long jump.
Iceberg, fast moves.
He is going to try and TP out, but it's not going to happen fast enough. That right there is a lot of damage.
Okay. Into the Roche. They actually get an opportunity just from that one kill. They've got the 2 points in penitence, so pretty decent. And they also have the built-in lifesteal for Troll Warlord, a nice possessed mask, so should keep his sustain up.
God, those new Tier 1 items, man. That mask as well as the Fairy Trinket, they are a little bit overtuned in my opinion.
No way that it should give 7 stats as well as 7% lifesteal. I feel like it's just like, or 7 your main attribute, sorry. I think it should just be a little reduced, but. Because it's just too good on the certain heroes that get it are just, I mean, maybe that's just the way that they want it to be, but like Fairy Trinket on certain heroes is just absolutely busted. Possessed Mask on like Morphling and some of these other like insta junglers like Terrorblade just feels way too strong.
Stupendous.
Yeah, I saw it. Any hero that can hit multiple units, like I saw Tidehunter pick it up as well. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's crazy. Just anchor smashes, and he's going to get a huge amount of heal every time.
Navi's hunting. They have this ward down. They did see the Earth Spirit for a second. Zayats. We'll do a small boulder.
Seemed like maybe he didn't fully realize that he was being hunted that way, but either way, he goes down. Na'Vi just in full aggressive mode at this point because they have the Aegis on Iceberg. Oh, nice jumping around by Iceberg, dodging the coil. And again, still has that Aegis, so he's daring no Techies to go onto him. His allies could definitely rotate if needed. He'll make sure to keep that mid lane pushed in front of 3 heroes. He's able to just push that mid wave into the tier 2 while the rest of his team is showing popping this tier 2 at the top lane. Once again, they're going to take that early outpost before 20 minutes.
Yep. And Iceberg, I mean, continuing to just show off individual skill, right? Dodge the Atos, jumps in, pressures the Witch Doctor for a sec, dodges the coil too. Doing phenomenal. And they're continuing to apply pressure, and V-Tune's even walking up to knock on the front door right now with this Chen army. They know AM is nowhere near ready to fight.
Yeah, might as well.
And they know Coil's down, so they have a window to actually walk up at the high ground where they're not going to get super punished for it.
Pop the glyph, protect the wave while they can. Another round of the orb comes through, but the tier 3, it's about to fall here. And they could still, Zayat's trying to roll forward to go for V-Tune, but V-Tune has been one step ahead of Zayat this entire game, it feels like. And he does it again here. Zayat rolls to his doom. They're just going to wait out some of the spells. And with those ultimates being used, some of them, they can keep going if they really want to and try and get this tier 3. A pull back there with the Remnant on Malik. The Stolen Rupture is going to be placed on this Bloodseeker. Solo going to run interference here, trying to make sure they can't threaten his Bloodseeker, but he's going to get out a little bit too far perhaps. Does have the Blood Right covering his tracks. Jump into the mid lane. Iceberg, he hasn't been showing himself in the top lane for a while. That's because he's decided to go ahead and hunt Iceberg. Oh, my goodness, Crystallize. That was a good read that they burned enough mana. Now they're going to start going on to the top lane because the AEM, he's healing up. He's going to join them in this fight in the top lane. A nice kick to be able to break the coil. V-Tune does manage to finish up that tier 3, but Na'Vi, they need to get out of here. The Rod of Atos is going to hold them underneath this Death Ward. V-Tune's going to take a decent amount of damage here, but no Techies. Got to be careful in pursuing as Iceberg is waiting for that long jump.
They saw him too. They saw him resetting. I think they actually saw him get the top rune, so immediately start to back away. But very nice from Crystallize too. I thought for sure he was going to die there from Iceberg's jump. Now they're actually still looking to hunt for this anti-mage, swinging across, checking the Ancients, kind of reading his movements a bit.
Whew. Takes away that Aegis, gives himself enough time to be able to TP out as a result.
Oh, I think he's going to get caught here, though.
Yeah.
Looks like always want to fly an Iceberg. Have a perfect read of his movements right now.
Spell shield fast enough, he gets out. Oh, Crystallize. Very well done. Real quick there on the trigger finger and able to bounce back both the telekinesis and the Orchid.
He's getting time. He's getting to the point where he's going to start eclipsing the Storm in farm. It's the Manta is that big timing where he can actually look to be involved and actually help out his team a lot, which they really need. That's the one thing too. Is they really start needing Crystallize to be this big fighting force because they're really falling behind on the other heroes. Supports as well as the other two cores are significantly behind their counterparts.
Yeah, they definitely feels like they're kind of getting demolished when it just comes to the 4-on-4. As the pressure again coming from V-Tune in this top lane.
Oh, look at that. 8 armor talent taken by the anti-mage this game. Rather than going for the blink cast range that we usually see, this is I want to be able to stand and fight versus troll and all this damage too. That's different. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
We're seeing V-Tune though. He's got the key where he also can just man fight and stand toe to toe versus AM. The Basher's online.
Yeah, it's big. Looks like he's looking at either Butterfly or Heart. It's kind of interesting instead of going straight for the Abyssal.
Yeah, we saw Heart on Troll like yesterday too, I feel like. But that was one where they were really losing the game. Interesting. Maybe he's just feeling that they're just their damage is predictable and at some point they're just going to run out and he's going to be the one sieging. So siege poke, back up, reset, heal.
Yeah, how does an AM hurt you when you've got Heart and no mana pool, you know? Like, you've only got 400 mana to burn. You're not going to do a whole lot of damage. Crystallize is going to go straight onto this Chen. See if they can blow him up right away while he's still silenced. No Hand of God here. Nice 2-man coil. It's going to be able to catch the Rubik with the Death Ward out there. A Bash is going to stop that Death Ward, but the Rubik is certainly in trouble, and V-Tune is currently being kited. Malak is currently doing some kiting of his own onto the Void Spear, who gets Rod of Atos into the silence. He gets popped. Nice and clean. Crystallize blinking away. That cast range, he's not able to blink quite far enough. Iceberg is able to chase him down, and now looks at Malak, who's a little bit low. Turns, puts the Orchid onto the puck as quick as possible. The silence is there, though, from the Blood Right. He's going to try and finish up the puck, and he does manage to get for the double kill before he goes down. Iceberg gets the only kills of that team fight for Na'Vi, but they were 2 very big kills in the 1 and 2 position.
It was a whole separate fight on the side. It was like Navi's fighting on the right side. Meanwhile, Iceberg is literally having his own battle on the high ground versus Crystallize, who's trying to counterspell his spells, but he actually played really nicely around it on Iceberg, gets the finish off, and I think that was all on the back of an arcane rune that he did end up having that allowed him to actually have the mana to do that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten either of those kills. So a little bit lucky for Na'Vi the way that they were set up. A beautiful fight for no Techies. And Roger making a pretty big mistake. He had mech up. Sure, he was silenced and all that from the Air Spirit. He didn't pop the mech to survive to get the Hand of God off there. So
yeah, that could have made a huge difference. Him getting off that Hand of God, always want to fly, would have survived a lot longer as a result. Maybe General's Void Spirit could have stayed in the fight longer as well.
Yeah, I think he maybe like the courier was delivering something like the tome or I couldn't see because he hesitated for quite some time before using it. He popped the drum, but he didn't use the mech. So
Blink Dagger on Urgon. Solo's going to be chased down here into the Yule's Remnant combination. That will spell his doom. It seems to me like Na'Vi is just going to keep no Techies up at this top part of the map, saying you're just going to have to constantly defend. Since you lost that tier 3 so early, we're going to make sure that we're just going to approach your high ground, and you don't really have much of an advantage when it comes to this fight. There's no tier 3 tower aura, there's no tower shots they're going to be poking away, and they're actually maybe going to choose not to even fight this top lane whatsoever.
Yeah, when they don't have their full squad up, there's no way they can test into it. Yeah, free racks, great call from Na'Vi to just make the move up there, ignore the side lanes, ignore the mid lane and the bottom lane in particular. Crystallize, he does get a nice cut into the mid wave, and he's getting closer to this much needed basher. But Na'Vi is not hesitating with their movements here. Vtune, as you said, it still looks like he's going to go for that heart, but they smoke and look to try to sweep and find this AM.
Radiant's middle tower is
See
under
if they
attack.
cut over to the triangle or if they cut down. Down is definitely where the AM's going to be playing more often since he is such a mobile hero. You kind of push
Radiant's
that
bottom tower is
that
under
positioning
attack.
to the limits. With a hero like
Ooh, the
AM,
scan.
a really good scan. It's going to be able to catch the AM here. Can they get the disable out? Okay, they lead off. Manage to grab him. They have the follow-up with the telekinesis, and the Remnant's both going to be there. Crystallize tries to get the blink away, but he ends up dying to the Rubik in the end. The Rupture goes out onto the Storm Spirit, but Storm's just going to bide his time here. A cast bouncing around with the illusions, but Iceberg jumps back forward to make sure that Malik and Soul are both going to be punished, as with no Crystallize, Iceberg doesn't have much to worry about. He can jump forward super far, be low on mana, and there's nothing that no Techies can do to turn and fight him.
Na'Vi just has an amazing shot calling, amazing reads of the map, right? I think they see everything that's going on top and mid lane, and they just know he's going to be bottom farming that spot, and always want to fly with the Stolen Maledict. They know that they have enough damage. As soon as he walks up, he gets hit by an overwhelming amount, and that tick hit him very hard when he did blink away.
Dire's structure
And Bloodstone charges for Iceberg. He does get, I think, 3 of them from all 3 kills.
Oh no, Zayat. He could have maybe used that Invis rune to see if he can cut the mid wave or something. Instead, spotted some couriers, but couldn't even get the one that he was searching for.
is under attack.
Oh. Well, that's why you take the damage town at 10, so you one-shot couriers.
Bloodseeker building into a medallion, but right now, if you're Na'Vi, you're just waiting for Roshan, and it is up right now. So no Techies. I think you're left in kind of an all-in defense of Roshan.
I mean, I think they actually might just have to fight around this area, even though Crystallize does not have his item at the ready. If they can get a good spot for Mana Void, that can be pretty decent around that area. So I really think that they have to contest it. No way they can deal with an Aegis and Cheese. Vtune has committed. He's got the heart. Okay, so I mean, I don't know how the hell they're gonna kill him. Honestly, that's actually pretty crazy. So. Iceberg?
Okay, Iceberg's not going to get the chance to actually set up. He tries to jump in first on his eye. It's not realizing, though, that the entire crew was there. He does have buyback, though.
He was getting Divine Favored back. He was doing the Storm Chen trick because he just got the shard. He was trying to get sent back to base, but they blew him up too fast, Iceberg. I mean, I was talking earlier this game about Iceberg that hasn't been making those mistakes, and then he goes a little reckless.
Yeah, I haven't seen that shard too often, so maybe he misjudged just exactly how long it takes. 6 seconds, that's a long time. That's the, what, level 1 of Dark Rift for Underlord?
Yeah, it was close. I think it had like 0.5 or 0.6 seconds left if I was looking at the timer properly, but yep. Makes a slight mistake. They're still going to be able to get the Roche anyway while he's dead, it looks like, because no Techies isn't going to make it there in time.
They're going to smoke and try to get there, but it's too late. They've already got the Aegis and Cheese. Okay, well, telekinesis, roll in onto Always Want to Fly here. The blink forward. Crystallize immediately runs into a Remnant. Oh no, now he gets bashed up.
Cast.
This is troublesome. He's going to pop his Manta, see if he can get out of here. He actually jumps into another Remnant, pulled back again. Vtune, he's going to ignore all that and just hit whatever targets are closest. That's going to be Solo. Yet a third Remnant's going to land to be able to pull the Witch Doctor back to make sure he dies. Crystallize harassing a bit with his illusions, but
Iceberg's TPing on the outpost bottom. They're keeping tabs. They keep pinging where Crystallize is. He's wanting to jump him.
makes the long
Checking
jump
Ancients.
over, runs over Malik, and will be able to get him as Crystallize. He can jump in. He has his ultimate
got
back
Mana
up.
Void.
He can go for it. Oh no, the Yule Scepter! It stops him. He doesn't pop the counter spell in time, and now he had a small chance of being able to kill Crystallize and maybe stopping this high ground push. Instead, he dies, and now it's pretty much a free game for Na'Vi to take over.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm still so impressed with the way Navi's just keeping tabs on these heroes too. I'm just like watching Iceberg, and he's just spam pinging the AM to follow him as he's respawning, just so he know. And then he's just like, getting that angle ready to go for the jump. A nice prediction by him. to go for the Ancients, and they get the successful fight. Yeah, AM down for 40. These Raxes are gone, and might even just tap on your tier 4s a little bit since bottom still has those towers.
Yeah, still got tier 1 and tier 2 up. Na'Vi giving no Techies some respect here. Are going to back up. No reason to hit to the tier 4s, I guess, when they could just start setting up for the bottom lane push. Ergon, meanwhile, is trying to get ahead of that by pushing out the bottom lane as much as possible, but he really does not have a whole lot of time that he can remain there.
This Heart is honestly so interesting. Like, he's actually just unkillable. It's so much HP regen. Maybe it is, especially versus this team. Maybe it is just so valuable. He's having a really free game anyway because of how aggressive the rest of Na'Vi is. But I'm still just intrigued by it. That's the second time I've seen it. So just that max HP regen during it. And here goes the jump. He's getting sent back to base.
BKB, just in case he got a little scared there. He was like, oh, I remember what happened last time when I was around in AM.
General's amused by it seems.
Yeah. All right, they're just gonna keep doing that, and I mean it's already tough enough with Aegis and Cheese out, but with a Storm Spirit being able to make free zips like that, I don't know how no Techies set this up to make it a winning team fight. It apparently starts with Solo running into the lane super aggressively while the rest of the team cuts back and see if they can catch Iceberg. I think was the play. After all, he's not the one with the Aegis, so Solo has pretty much given up his life for the rest of the team to cut behind and see if they can catch Iceberg, but I think Iceberg somehow knows. And now
his BKB's down, so they're really looking for him, really gunning for him.
Oh, they spotted him for a second, but Iceberg starts jumping away. He's making some emergency jumps around to make sure he's well hidden. Nice two-man silence is set up, but this needed to be going onto Iceberg and eliminating him nice and quick while he's separated from his allies. It was a unique idea from no Techies, but fortunately Iceberg seemed wise enough to it.
Yeah, I actually like the attempt there, right? Like, they're like, Iceberg can still die to one stun because BKB's down if the AM gets on him, but Iceberg waits till BKB's back up and kind of just then starts making his way back into the fight, and his team immediately starts to connect toward him. Na'Vi's just on point with all their team play.
They're going to pop the glyph since their wave is being cut here. They keep that range creep alive, and they can't go high ground.
Crystallize almost got that courier kill there onto V-Tune. Says V-Tune, heart regen with a blood rage too. He's just full HP, beating on the tower super hard.
Iceberg pump faking it a few times. He's got Cheese, so he's really not that scared of a 1v1 against the AM. Crystallize, what happened there? He TP'd back and immediately got controlled up, and that's it. GG. Solo's gonna call it. This was an utter whomping. Na'Vi bringing down no Techies with very little effort, it seemed like. No sweat on any of those faces. These were just two very fast, what was pretty much like, it felt like 20-minute games. Sure, this one actually ended at 31, but by 20 minutes, Na'Vi had a good amount of control of the game.
Yeah, I mean, V-Tune is just getting, in this game in particular, just getting leaps and bounds of space from his team. I mean, Iceberg is just making so much pressure on the map with his team surrounding too, and yeah, I mean, he's really the standout of, right? He's just the standout of both of these two games. His Storm and Batrider just absolutely crushed the game. Ergon just really struggling in particular in this game on the puck where he needed to step up big, right? I feel like him, Malik, and the Earth Spirit in particular, they have to do so much on the map this game because they're playing pretty much man down. And yeah, they just couldn't. Iceberg just destroyed them, so tough for them for sure.
All right, well, no Techies. They've now lost to Live to Win and Na'Vi. Some of the tougher teams here in the CIS group stage, no doubt, but the way they're losing these games is not giving me a whole lot of hope for them to be able to bounce back through the rest of the DPC. But it is a very long league. Na'Vi feeling pretty good about their 2-0 sitting in the score. And we'll go ahead and break down this series with our panel.
Thank you very much,